I thought this thing matched up guys who were slick versus guys who wanted to slug, and Washington was too slick for the Texas Longhorns. What an amazing set of storylines. First of all, the redemption tour. Here you got Kalen DeBoer, head coach Washington, started his career at tiny Division II Sioux Falls, South Dakota, went to all these other stops on the road map to be an offensive coordinator, Southern Illinois, Fresno, other places. Got a head job at Fresno State, 2 years, flipped that, goes to Washington. In 2 years, he's now 24-2, I think it is,
wow,
with the Huskies. And then the redemption tour for Steve Sarkisian, legendary BYU quarterback, creative mind, good play caller, wanted to be an offensive coach, wanted to be a head coach, got his chance at USC, got derailed because of his personal lifestyle and his alcohol problems that got him fired. Nobody would hire him. There was a paper trail of problems with Sarkisian. Nick Saban saved his career. First, Sarkisian saved his life by going into alcohol rehab to deal with an acute problem. Saban gave him a job as administrative assistant and then breaking down video and then doing X's and O's and then becoming my offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa. So Saban played a big role. Sarkisian has captured his life, regained everything, and boom, has gone from disgrace to something really special there. In terms of the game, wild plays, wild mistakes, final 4 minutes, crazy. Michael Penix throwing deep dimes all night long. You know, in the first half alone, and this is a shocker to me that Texas did not have an idea how to defend this. In the first half, Penix had passes at 24, 29, 29, 52, and 77.
Incredible.
Bombs away, and he was accurate throwing deep. He threw 255 in the first half, and he wound up with 430. And he kept the bombs going, and they started to break some runs in the second half of that game. I just think that Penix he broke the will of the Texas defense, which was gassed, chasing him on all these downs and never, hardly ever getting into his face. That was 430 yards passing against a Texas powerhouse football team. And by the way, you didn't vote? Nobody voted for this guy to be the Heisman Trophy winner?
Really? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, good
I
call.
was in the minority there. In terms of Texas, Quinn Ewers made some plays. He just couldn't keep up with what they were doing on the other side of the ball at Washington. He threw for 318. Heroic comeback, though, at the end of the game. I mean, he had 3 scoring drives on those possessions, and then they died at the 12-yard line with 1 second to go. But there was just no consistency to anything they were doing. Receivers weren't catching the ball consistently. C.J. Baxter did not run the ball consistently. I guess what shocked me the most, you know, Texas during the season played Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU. You had to have all kinds of inside information about formations and how to run because those guys run the spread. They do what Washington did. And it was like Texas just did not have a clue how to defend everything that Penix had out in the package. And, you know, they went to a blitz package late in the game, and it finally slowed Washington down, allowed Texas to get back in the game. But why was that not happening through the first 3 quarters, especially since you'd played teams that ran the same formations and things? So I was kind of surprised that Sarkisian and his staff kind of got out-schemed in this whole thing. But Washington, what an accomplishment. So now you got Washington, Michigan championship game next Monday night. And John Riley says,
I say it was a great game. And I keep wanting to say Michael Vick. It's Michael Penix, just lefty quarterback that's got all the tools. And Penix was tremendous. Like you said, he had those long passes, but some of them were like lasers and, you know, in tight windows. And you're like, wow, this guy can throw all the passes. The head coach, DeBoer, you know, get to know him a little more in this game. He's a very likable guy.
Yeah.
And then I always wondered why Michael Penix ended up at Washington when DeBoer apparently was the offensive coordinator at Indiana.
When Penix was coming in the front door.
Exactly. And I had not put those two things together because I remember seeing Penix in Indiana, and he was tremendous when he was not hurt. But I always scratched my head how he ended up in Washington, and now I know.
Exactly. Great accomplishments. And Penix had to run a big hill. This has not been easy. He's had 3 knee surgeries and a rehab extensive. And he was a run-first throw quarterback at Indiana, and he paid a terrible price. He just got battered and got hurt. Now he's mature. He's rehabbed. He's a much different quarterback in the pocket and the ability to move some things. But boy, under pressure, makes plays. They've won so many close games at the University of Washington.
Okay,
So
just a quick tangent here. Who would you take with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft? Because there's 3 really good quarterbacks at the top.
we're going to argue about that going forward. We got plenty of time to argue about that going forward.
All right.
And it's tough because Caleb Williams had the great career, but the end of his run at USC was pretty tattered. Penix has had just a phenomenal thing. And I think Bo Nix, he's a robo systems quarterback. He's got to be in the right system, but he sure is intellectual enough to be a really good NFL quarterback. And that doesn't include the argument about the kid at LSU, Jaden Daniels. I mean,
North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's right,
Drake May. Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be a topic on the table that we will argue about for months going towards the draft. So we're ready. A week from now, we got Michigan, we've got Washington, and we'll talk about that on our Thursday podcast. A lot of people talking coming out of the